Welcome back. We shift now from a look back to a look at labor and labor unions today and going forward. And for that, I'm joined by Adrian Huff. Adrian is the principal officer of Teamsters Local 445 and the treasurer of the Area Labor Federation. And from Manhattan, we're joined by Ruetschlin. She is a policy analyst at Demos. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
I want to start with a new report that I saw out from the Rutgers School of Planning and Public Policy, and it's got almost a disturbing amount of pessimism among the workforce about the workforce future and job happiness and security. And just these numbers, 16% say job career opportunities will be better for the next generation. That's 16%. That number was 56% back in 1999. 36% say the economy will never recover from the Great Recession. 70% feel they lack job security. 68% say they're highly stressed. Only 14% say they're happy at work. Only 18% say that they're well paid. Adrian, I'm curious what you think is changing or has changed that has so many people so gloomy about where they're working today and their prospects going forward.
Well, being a union leader, I think most people would want to work under a contract, be represented by a union, and it kind of sets the guidelines for the workplace, and with an expectation of increases and protection of benefits that they do have. So that would probably be a very big help or start to that.
Catherine, go ahead.
Historically, unions were the mechanism that provided the link between a growing economy and rising living standards for everyone. Since that's broken down and union membership has declined, we've actually seen inequality growth. I think that most people aren't surprised by the findings from the Rutgers study. In fact, most of us know that we've been in recovery for 5 years, but most people don't feel any part of that recovery because they've been left out of the bargain.
And I would say that the labor unions are the glue or the foundation for the middle class. With the reduction in union membership, so goes the middle class.
These are the kinds of issues that speak to the American dream to a certain extent. The notion that you can do better through your life and that your kids will do better than you did. And it doesn't seem like that's getting a whole lot of play, Catherine.
That's absolutely right. The majority of workers today still believe that a union is necessary in order to protect working people. People go to work every day and feel like their voices aren't heard by management. Unions have always been the way to make those voices amplify into something that can be recognized by companies so they can meet their needs. When workers and companies can come together, actually you can develop great benefits for both sides. When workers have a shot at improving their condition through their job, they work harder, they stick around, and the company grows.
Absolutely. I couldn't disagree at all with that one, that message.
We're still really feeling the sting from the Great Recession from 2008. We lost a ton of jobs, though unemployment is now down to a level we haven't seen since the recession started. But the sense is that the replacement jobs are less satisfactory than the jobs that we lost. And Catherine, I know you've studied retail and the fast food industry. You've seen an enormous shift in the people filling those positions. It's not the teenagers, it's not the stereotypical people that we generally used to associate with those jobs, correct?
That's absolutely true. The American people are still making less money today than they were before the recession, despite our ostensible recovery. That means that workers are settling for less. They're moving into jobs that used to be considered.
All right, we're working on our connection with Catherine there. We're going to get her back as soon as we can. But Adrian, it does seem like the jobs that we used to rely on, the jobs that we used to look for, they're not there anymore, and we're having to make do in almost a different economy.
Manufacturing has moved out of this country to other countries, which really puts a hurt on the American families. The jobs that are here, low-paying jobs, retail is probably the big one. You go to Walmart, typically an employer would offer health insurance, retirement, a pension of some sort. At some point, it became a bad word, pensions. A collective bargaining agreement. Those things, we need to refocus and get back to those things as a whole.
We've got our connection back with Ruetschlin at Demos, and Catherine, you were talking about more people in a different demographic who are working retail, who are working fast food. And Adrian just pointed out, those people aren't, for the most part, getting retirement plans. They're not getting health care. There's a real there's a real sense of uncertainty for people who are replacing their old jobs with those.
That's absolutely true. When you look at the typical fast food worker, you're talking about a woman about 30 years old, probably been to some college and maybe even raising kids at home. When they don't know what their paycheck's going to look like, when they don't know what their employment projected into the future is going to look like, that means that they can't budget, they can't make investments in their future, and that actually holds back the entire economy. So this isn't a problem that's just really located in fast food or in retail. It's actually destabilizing to the workforce overall.
I want to ask you both, Catherine and Adrian. I've talked to a number of people who say, especially since 2008, especially since the recession, the balance between employer and employee seems to have shifted, and that employers seem to have more leverage, if you will, and that the scales seem to be tilted more towards employers and away from employees. I'm wondering if you could...
I would think that the employees are fearful that they all need a job. That's why they're here. They need a job. They're at the workplace, and that the employer is able to, one, reduce pay with the guarantee of a job, reduce benefits, shift the cost of health care to the employee, away from the employer and to the employee. Again, making it unfair and difficult, and working backwards instead of going forward, or at least maintaining where you're at. That hasn't happened since this recession.
Catherine, your thoughts?
Well, in a loose labor market, workers are always at a disadvantage when it comes to their bargaining position for the kind of job that they want to commit to. But I would put the timeline far before 2008. I would say since about the early 80s, we've seen a change in the kind of regulations that make unions harder to form and workers harder to organize. That means that while we talk about globalization as one of the reasons that there's been pressure on unionization rates, we can't consider it alone. Other countries that have faced the same global pressures that we have actually maintained consistently high unionization rates, and that's because unions there are easier to form.
So the state of labor overall, a little bit nervous as we sit here on Labor Day 2014. As for the state of labor unions, that is the tool that for years has helped so many workers. We're going to get into the state of labor unions in 2014 on this Labor Day special on RFL after a quick break. Stay with us.